Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yasser Ahmed. Today we're going to be completing the second part of the Microsoft Expression Web overview video. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is how to create a table using Microsoft Expression Web. So this is taken from the June 2016 Summer 32 paper. So in this question we have to create this table. So the first thing we need to identify is how many rows and columns we have in this table. So if we look at this example, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and also we have 4 columns as well. So what we need to do is we need to click on table and then insert table, and then we need to enter the number of rows and columns we're going to have in the table, and then we need to specify how wide the table is going to be. So in pixels we need to enter the size. So this table will be 736 pixels wide. We don't need to enter the height because when we start formatting individual cells, we can then include the height of the cells. So let's go to Expression Web Form. So I've already opened up a page, I've saved it. So to create a table, you click on Table and you click on Insert Table. So as mentioned, identify how many rows and columns you're going to have. So looking at this example, we will have 4 rows and then 4 columns. And then in pixels, how wide is the table? So the table is going to be, if we zoom in, 736 pixels wide. So let's include the size here. Okay. So we've created our table. We've got 4 rows, so that's the first row, second row, third, and fourth, and then 4 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the next thing we would have to do is then to format the cell sizes. So if we go to the next slide, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Actually, before we format the cell sizes, we need to merge some cells. So to merge cells, we highlight the cells, we right click on the mouse, and then we click on merge cells. So you'll notice the top row and the bottom row needs to be merged together. So if I go back to expression, let me highlight the top row. So if I highlight all of the cells, so you press the mouse, left mouse button down, you right click on your mouse, and you click on modify to merge the cells. Okay, and this cell has now become 1. And then if you look back at the example again, the bottom row has also been merged as well. So if we highlight the row of cells at the bottom, right click your mouse, and then click on modify and merge cells. Okay, so let's go back to this question here. Let me zoom out. Okay, now what we're going to do is enter the sizes for each of the cells. So to do so, what we need to do is right click in the cell and then select cell properties. Okay, so we can enter the sizes in either pixels or in a percentage. So if I go back to this question here, let's just read. This web page must work in all browsers and have a table structure shown below. Each cell is identified with a letter and all dimensions are in pixels. So we need to make sure we're selecting pixels. So let's look at the first row. The first row, the height will be 172. So if I right click in the first row, click on cell properties, we need to specify the height in pixels, and let me double check. Yep, it's going to be 172. We don't need to specify how wide it's going to be because the table is automatically being set as 736 pixels wide. So you can include it, but it's not going to make any difference. 736, apply, and then let's format the bottom row. So the bottom row, the height will be 140. So again, you click on the bottom row, right click on your mouse and go to cell properties. You can specify how wide the table is going to be again, but it's not going to make a difference. So 736 by 140. And then make sure you've selected in pixels, click on apply, done. Okay, you'll notice the second row and the third row has the same dimensions. So each cell will be 184 by 140. So what we can do is we can highlight all of the cells at the same time. We can go to cell properties and we can specify how wide each cell will be. So it will be 184, and then we always enter the height second, and the height will be 140. Click on apply. Job done. Okay, so this is basically how we create a table. So you need to go to table, insert table, work out how many rows and columns you're going to have, and then enter those rows here, okay, and columns as well, and then make sure you always write in the size of the table going across. So how wide will the table be, and it's typically in pixels. The second thing you need to look at is, will any cells be merged? So looking at this example, the top row and the bottom row are merged, so you can highlight the cells, you can right click on your mouse and you can select merge cells, and then to select or set specific sizes, you highlight the cells, you right click again, and then you go to cell properties, and then you can enter specific sizes. Okay, so as you can see here, I've highlighted this row all at the same time, and then we've specified how wide and the height of each cell will be. So each cell was going to be 184 by 140. So you can highlight multiple cells and select the dimensions at the same time. Okay. And this is the code. So TR basically stands for table row. In the first row, you only have one cell. So each cell is defined by TD. Now in the second row, you have 4 cells. So you can see TD, 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 and you've got the dimensions here for each of the cells. This is basically what's going to be marked after you've copied the HTML to see if you set the right size of the table going across, and you set the right sizes for each of the cells, and the table has 4 columns. Okay, so now let's look at the next slide. So in some mark schemes, they will ask you to, or some question papers, they will ask you to center align a table within the browser. Now there's 2 ways of center aligning the table in the browser. So let me show you the first method. So if I go back to expression, if I highlight the table, so if I click on the outline and then click on this option up here, we can click here to align the table, center align the table, and you can see that the table is now moved into the center. Okay, if you go to the HTML code, you can see it says here align equals center. Now that's one way of doing it. If I go back and press Ctrl Z, the second way of doing it is to embed some CSS code. So if I go back to the example, what we can do if I zoom in, well, let me go to the full slide. So on the first row, within these speech marks here, what we can do is we can embed some CSS style into this table. So we can set both the margins on the left and on the right to be automatic. If you do this, this will make sure, this will basically align the table to be centered. So if the table margins right and left are both set to auto, then the table will be center aligned. So in some mark schemes, they actually are looking for this piece of code. So let's do it like this. If I go back to the table, if I go into the code, or what we can do, let's just highlight the table. Okay, and then if you go to the top line of the code, just before the speech mark, enter a semicolon to enter close that piece of code. And then what we need to do is type in margin and then select left, margin left, and select auto. So this is one piece of code. Let's close that with a semicolon, and now we need to enter the margin right, and then close out with a semicolon. So anytime you have an attribute, you need to close it with a semicolon. You can have a space, it doesn't really matter. So what we're basically saying is the margin left will be automatic, the margin right will be automatic, and in some previous mark schemes they are looking for this piece of code. So now if I go to design, you'll notice the table is in the middle. So let me just press Ctrl Z. I'll do that one more time. So if you highlight the table, you go to the top row of the table code. Inside of the speech marks, you can see the speech markers here and here. Enter a semicolon to close that piece of code for how wide the table is going to be, and type in margin left first of all, select automatic, semicolon, and then margin right, automatic, again close with semicolon. So that's basically how we create a table, we merge cells, okay, and we center line the table in the browser. Okay, so just before we move on, each cell is identified with letters. You don't need to include these letters. These are just for your reference points. I'm actually going to do another example of creating a table. This example is going to be from the 2017 question paper. So if I go to my folder again, I think I've opened it up already. Yeah. So let me open up this question from 2017, because this was slightly confusing to my class. So I want to just go over this paper as well on how to create a table. So I'll tell you why it was slightly different. So here's a question regarding how we sorry, let me just zoom out slightly. Okay, here we go. So my computer's gone a bit slow now. Here we go. Right. So this was a table about creating a new web page and creating a table structure. So the web page must work in all browsers and will have the table structure with visible borders and grid lines as shown below. Text shown in bold must be entered onto your web page. So that includes this text here. Okay. The formatting for each cell is identified in italic. So this text here will basically tell us how to format each of the cells. So replace the text in the chevrons with answers, images, or candidate details as instructed. So you've got some questions here below. So if I want to create, first thing I'm going to do is create a new HTML page. So let me copy this code. So let me just close this one now. Yeah, save the changes. Let's go to File, New HTML page. Let me save this first of all. So let me keep going backwards. So Web Expression 2017, it was a summer 32 paper, and I'm going to save it in the folder that we should have created. I think I've got this file already, so I'm just going to enter 1 at the end so I don't save over the original file. Okay, so why is this table slightly different? First of all, we don't have any dimensions. So if you look at the previous example, here's one example. You've got dimensions. This table is 620 pixels wide. Let me go up, and this table is 736 pixels wide, and we've got dimensions for each of the cells. However, here you can see we don't have any dimensions for the cells, so sometimes what we need to do, we need to go down and have a look at the rest of the paper. So in the CSS we can see the table will be 600 pixels wide. So when I make this table, I'm going to set it at 600 pixels wide. So the first thing now I need to identify is how many rows and columns we have. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 3 columns. So to create this table, I will go to Table, Insert, 4 rows, 3 columns, and always include in pixels the size of the table going across. So how wide will the table be? So it will be 600. Before I press Enter, let me double check. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can press Enter. Okay, and then let's merge the cells. So the top row is merged across. So let me click on Modify, and merge cells. Okay, this column here is merged all the way down from the second row. So Modify, Merge, and then this cell here, basically these two cells are merged together as well. Okay, so that's the table. So just before we move on, the next slide looks at inserting content into our table. So let me just go, and we can insert content into this table here. So if I just go to full screen. So we can either type in text into our table, or we can copy the text from different sources and place it in our table. So here's an example here. We have a heading, and then we have some text, and we have an unordered list. And you can see the text has been formatted as well. So text can be entered or copied and pasted from external sources. We can insert a picture by going to Insert, Picture from File, or we can click on an icon on the toolbar as well. So if you are inserting a picture, make sure you click in the right cell and then go to the relevant options to insert the picture. So the first thing I'm going to do with this paper is insert the text. So since I have the paper opened electronically, what I can do is just simply copy and paste the text. So obviously in the exam you'd have to write in the text. So the question paper said basically text shown in bold must be entered into your web page. So that's why I'm just copying and pasting them in. Okay, let me keep going. Here are 3 things needed to upload and publish a website. And then website created by. Then in this question, you basically would have to answer the questions. I'm just going to look at this step here. So what we need to do is insert a picture. So the picture in step 4 should have been called, so this is step 4, 1732 image.jpg. So to insert an image, what we need to do is basically click in the cell the image will go in. So it's going to be in this cell here. And you can either click on this icon here to insert a picture, or we can go to insert picture from file. Let me go to my folder. And the picture that we're going to be inserting is going to be called, let me double check, what was it called in step 4? 1732 image, so IMG. So yep, it's this picture here. So anytime you insert a picture, this option here will come up. So if I go back to my presentation, so this is basically alternative text. Alternative text can be added when importing an image. The alternative text will show if the image does not load up. The alternative text can also be typed into the picture properties panel shown below. So if you do forget, you can always go to the properties panel. So the purpose of the alternative text is if this picture does not load up, then this alternative text will be displayed instead. In a moment I'll show you how to go to the pictures property if you don't include it when you've inserted the picture. So I typically include alternative text when I'm adding or inserting the picture. So since this picture is of a switch for my network, so if you're not sure, you can have a look at the picture again. I'm going to type in switch, press OK, and as you can see, the picture is, doesn't really fit in the cell, does it? However, if we go back and we have a look, it says image resize 200 pixels wide, and we've added the appropriate alternative text. So if I click on this picture, I think this will be one of the next things I want to show you. If you go to right click, so if you right click on a picture, picture properties, appearance, we can change how wide the picture will be. So it's going to be 200 pixels wide. So I'm guessing to maintain the aspect ratio. If you go back to general, if you have forgotten to include the alternative text, you can always include it at this point here. So let's click on OK. The picture has been resized, the aspect ratio has been maintained. You'll notice the third column is slightly small now, so since there's no dimensions, what we can do, we can simply drag on the border to increase the column size. So if I go back to the presentation, to resize an image, you simply have to right click on a picture, go to picture properties, appearance, and then once you've done that, you need to enter the required dimensions. If you are including the aspect ratio or maintaining the aspect ratio, you need to make sure this option has been ticked. So this is a code for a picture. So the first piece of code is src equal, and then in speech marks you got a name of the picture including the file type, and then you got some code to say how wide the picture will be and the height of the image, and then some code for the alternative text. So it's really important that you remember this code, because it did come in paper 1 in 2018. We had to write down the code for a picture type. Okay, so let's go to the next cell. So now we're going to be looking at text alignment in a table. So we can align text, or actually even pictures as well. So once you've wrote some text, you basically go to cell properties. So, or you right click and highlight the text, you go to cell properties. And then what you need to do is select the properties you want for the formatting. So in the first example, the text has been aligned to the center horizontally and vertically to the top. In the second example, the text has been aligned to the right hand side, as you can see, but the vertical alignment is middle. So make sure you don't get confused. If it's vertical, it's not going to be center, it's going to be middle. And if you want to align the text to the bottom and on the left, these are the options you need to select. So if I go back to my example, let me just enter some text here. So example text. To format this text, let's highlight, go to cell properties, and let's do the first example. So text will be center and top. So if I click on horizontal, select center, vertical, top, click on apply, you can see the text has moved to the top, and on the horizontal axis is going to be center aligned. Let's now make the text go to the right hand side in the middle. So right, and then we can select the middle, and the text should be here. So let's click on apply. Okay, and now let's make the text appear on the left hand side on the bottom. So if we go to left, and then the vertical alignment in this example is now bottom. So there's lots of different options, but these are just some examples. Let's press OK. Okay, that's that done. You can also do the same thing with a picture. So let me insert a picture again. I'm not going to include the alternative text. Let me resize this picture. So we right click, go to picture properties, appearance. So let me make it 50 pixels wide. So we want to make it small in this example. So again, if I right click on a picture, go to picture properties. Actually no, if I right click on the cell, we go to cell properties. Again, we can do the same thing. So let's say, for example, I want the picture to be in the center at the top. You can select center, we can select the top, and the picture is moved to the center at the top. If I click on bottom for the vertical alignment, it's moved to the bottom. If I click on horizontal right, it should move on to the bottom right. So again, you can do apply the same effects to text or to pictures as well. Okay, so I don't really want these to text on the picture, so let me press Ctrl Z. Let's get rid of this text and this picture. Okay, so now let's look at creating internal hyperlinks. So internal hyperlinks basically go from one page to another page from the same website. So let's look at the instructions. So to create an internal hyperlink, select either an image or a text to be linked and right click on your mouse. Select the hyperlink option, click on existing file or web page, click on current folder, and then select another web page you want to click to. So these are the existing pages in our website. You can click on target frame if you want to open on a new tab. So you can select an option to open a new window. You can name the new window by replacing underscore blank with the name of the new window. So it could be e.g. underscore new name. So what's going to appear in the code? So href basically tells you this is going to be a hyperlink, and the target is going to be on a blank underscore blank. So this tells you it's going to open up on a new window, and this is basically what it's going to link from. It's going to link from this particular picture. So to create an internal hyperlink, if I go to my folder first of all, I think it's this one here. Yeah, this is my folder. This was the file that we just created now, so upload one. So let me just save the changes. So if I double click in the browser, let's open it up. Yeah, my computer's taking a while these days. I think I need a new computer. So here's the first page, okay, and then this is the second page minus the one. So what we're going to do is going to create an internal link to go back and forth between the pages. Okay, so if you click on this picture, it's going to take you to this page, and then if I click on this picture, it's going to take me to this page. That's the first thing we're going to do. So before I do that, let me open up both pages. So we right click, oh, that's the second one, edit with expression. So we got both pages. So first of all, I want to link back to uploads 1. So if I right click on this picture, go to hyperlink, existing file or web page, and I want to click on current folder and link this back to upload 1. Let's press OK. And this picture here, I want to link to this page here, which does not include one at the end. So if I go to the end, hyperlink, again, existing file or web page, and we want to link to this page here, which does not include the one at the end. If I save changes to both pages, and then if I go to the browser, so let me close down these two examples. If I click this picture here, it should take me to this page here, and then if I click on this picture here, it's taking me back to this page here. So that's internal links. What if you want to open up on a new page? So if I or new tab. So if I right click and go to hyperlink properties, you can click on target frame and select new window, and this could be renamed as well. So let's press OK. Let's go to my browser. So let's just close down anything else. So if I click on this, it should now open on a new tab, which it has. This one will still open on the same tab since we haven't changed the settings. So we're still on the same page, but if I click here, again it's opened up a new tab. So that's an internal hyperlink. We can do the same thing if I go to here. So let's just make a link to this text. So again, if I just highlight the text, right click, select hyperlink, existing file or web page, current folder, and then we can select the uploads page without a HTML. In one exam paper, I think it was 2014, the page we were linked to hadn't been created yet, so we basically had to type in a file name, and it was not going to work until the link had been created. So maybe you have to type in a file name first, and then later on, once you've created that page, the link will work. Well, let's just link to this page here. Same principle. Again, if we go to the browser, you know it's a hyperlink because the text now has been underlined, and if you click on it, it goes to that particular page. So that's internal hyperlinks, and the code is here. So let's look at the code for our internal hyperlink. So if I click on a picture, go to the code view, remember this is what's going to be marked. So here's the link showing we'll be going to that page, and it's going to be opening up a new window. Okay, let's go back to design view. Okay, let's say now we want to create an external hyperlink. So to create an external hyperlink, select again either the image or text to be linked, right click your mouse, select the hyperlink option, click on existing file or web page, click on the current folder, then enter the full URL address here. Okay, so again we can open the new external link on a new window. If you click on target frame, we can select a new window, and then you can rename the new window as well. So what you need is the full address to be able to link to an external link. So what I'm going to do is, let's go to, let's say, Google. Let's go to my website. So for some reason, I don't know why, the website sometimes may need refreshing. So if that's the case, just refresh the website. On some computers, some people have told me the website does not load up. So if that's the case, simply refresh. I'm going to link to the paper 3 revision. Okay, so if I click on this tab, go to paper 3. Here you can find question papers, videos, overviews. So let's copy this address here. Go to expression. And this time we're going to make a link to my website. So if I highlight the text, same principle of the picture, right click, go to hyperlink, and then for the address you have to type in a full address, which includes the HTTP protocol. Target frame if you want to open up on a new window. Let's press OK. And then to see the changes, let's save the page. Let's go to the browser. Let me close down anything else that's open so we don't get confused. So this is now an external link which will open an external web page on a new tab. So again, we can do the same thing. If I wanted to do it for the picture, you simply right click the picture. I want to now open up this external link on a new window. Let's press OK. Save the changes. Again, we can go to the browser and we have an external link. So if we click the picture, it will take me to my external link, or if I click on a text, it will take me to my external link. Okay, so this is a code for the example shown here. So here's code shown that this picture, or sorry, this text will be going to Hothouse Design, and it will be opening up in a new window. Okay, so let's now look at anchors. Okay, so in Expression we call it bookmarks. So an anchor will basically let you link to a specific part of a page. For example, you can create a named anchor at the top of the page. You can then click or create a link to return to the top of the page by referring to the named anchor. Okay, so to place something at the top of the page, we need to go to the HTML and we need to select just below the body, and then we need to go to Insert and click on Bookmark. Okay, and then we need to enter some text for the bookmark name, so example top. Then the last thing we're going to do is highlight the text that we want to link to the bookmark, right click and select hyperlink, and in this case we're going to select place in this document and select top. Okay, so let's first of all go to our website. I want to create a hyperlink at the top of this page, so the first thing I'll do is go to code. Underneath body I'm going to click here, so this will make sure I'm at the top of the page. Go back to design view and then insert a bookmark. So actually it's not this, yeah, here we go, insert bookmark, and we're going to call this bookmark top. So yep, that's fine, happy with that. If you go to your code view, you can see some code has been entered for the bookmark at the top of the page, just below the body. Now if I go to the bottom, okay, I'm just going to press enter a few times. Let's say I've got some text here, so click here to return to the top. Sometimes it may be specific and it may say just highlight the text, click here. So we want to hyperlink this text to return to the top of the page. So if we highlight the text, go to hyperlink, this time select place in this document and then select top for the bookmark. If I press OK and then save changes and then go to the browser, so if we go to the bottom of the page, we can click on this text to return us to the top of the page. Okay, so again, if I click on this text and go to the code view, you can see here's the link. So href basically means there's going to be some sort of link, and it's going to return us to the top of the page by referring to the named anchor, which was called top. So the named anchor has been placed here, which is being called top. When you click that link, it returns you back to that location. Doesn't necessarily have to return you to the top of the page. Maybe we can insert a named anchor here. Let's call it mid. Actually, what I'm going to do, let me just, actually, yeah, I want to click here. I'm getting confused now. I want to insert a named anchor called middle. Okay, so you don't see the anchor, but if you click on the code view, the anchor will be here somewhere. Yep, so here's a named anchor. So you don't see it, it's not visible. If we create some more text, let's just type in middle, hyperlink, and then here's the second named anchor, bookmark. We can press OK. Again, let's go to the browser, go to Chrome, go to the all the way down to the middle text, and if we click here, it should take us to the middle of this table. Yep, happy with that. So that's basically your anchor or bookmark. So an anchor will basically let you link to a specific part of the page. So the first anchor linked to the top of the page, the second anchor basically linked to the middle of the table. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So an email link, you can basically link a text or image to an email link. So basically, if you were to click on an email link, it would open up an email client if it's installed on your computer, which would include the email address, and if you've added the option to include a subject line as well. So sometimes you have to highlight either the text or the image. Once you've done that, right click and select hyperlink and click on email address. So you can see here, you click on email, you enter the email address. When you enter the email address, automatically mail 2 will turn up. If you want to include a subject line, you simply have to type it in. Okay, so as soon as you type in an email address, this mail2 and colon will turn up. This is the code for the email link. Again, since it's a link, it says href equal mail to the actual email address you want to send an email to. And then if you want to include a subject line, this will automatically be included, question mark subject equal, and then the actual subject line you've inserted in. So let me go back to my example here. Let's say here I want to create an email link. So you can do the same thing either to a text or to or picture. So you can right click, go to hyperlink properties, email address, or you can do it to the text as well. So let me highlight email, go to hyperlink, email address. So I'm going to type in my address. So you can see as soon as I start typing address, mail2 colon has turned up. If you do have any questions, you can email me actually on this address. This is a working address at gmail.com. So wahmed.mba@gmail.com, and we can include a subject line. So practical exam questions. If I press OK, and then what's going to be marked is if you go into the code view, you can see on the text email we have an email link, which will basically, if you click it and you have the email client installed, it will take you to the page, email client, and this email address will be in the top bar for the email address, and the subject line will also appear as well. So if I go to design, it's not going to work, I don't think, on my computer because I haven't got the email client installed. Let's go to the browser, but the main thing is the code appears, the HTML appears, because that's what's going to be marked. So if I click on email, I don't think anything's going to happen because my computers are not being configured, but as long as the code is correct, then the marks will be given. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at publishing a website. To upload a website, you first need to purchase a domain name. So mine is here, and also hosting. So the hosting provider will give you user login details so that you're able to upload your website into their hosting space. Then what you need to do is basically install a file transfer protocol application to be able to upload your website. So the one I use is called FileZilla, and I'll show you an example in a moment. Once you've logged in with the details provided by the hosting provider, you will see your files on your computer on one side, and then the hosted files on the other side. You need to ensure that files are kept in appropriate web folders, and uploaded files mirror how you've saved them on your computer. So if you upload something on this side here, it needs to appear in the same way it appears on your computer, so no links are broken. Now so files and folders are organized exactly in the same way on the computer side and also on the hosted side. Files can be uploaded by dragging them from your computer side to the hosting space. So you need to make sure you drag the file into the same location on the hosted side. So if I show you the example application I use, so this is FileZilla. Once you log in with the details provided by the hoster, then you will see the files here which has been hosted by your provider. To basically drag a file onto your hosted space, you have to literally drag it onto this area here, and then you'll see the file being transferred below here. Okay, so that's hosting for you. So let's now look at testing. So why would you test your web page? Basically to ensure all components of the web page are working correctly before they're published online. So there's two types of testing. So the first type of testing is functional testing. So do hyperlinks work from the correct text or image? Do hyperlinks to anchors within the page work? Do hyperlinks to other pages in the site work? Do hyperlinks to email, the editor software work for email links? Do hyperlinks to email have the correct address and subject lines? Do external hyperlinks to existing URLs work? So these are suitable test choices that we can create. So this is functional testing. Alpha or in-house testing is basically an in-house team is tasked with finding errors with the website. they could focus on the HTML or CSS codes. So the developers are not involved in this process. So the functional testing could be tested by the actual developers of the website. Alpha or in-house testing could be done by a separate team. We could also create a test table. So this will help us test elements of the website. So this is what we can include in a test table. So test what we're checking, so hyperlinks. And then the next part of the test table could be how we're going to check the hyperlink. So that could be to click on each link in the web browser. And then the expected and the actual outcome. So all links expected to go to the correct page. All links were working. If no action was taken, then you would say no action required. If action was required, maybe you could provide a print screen to show what you've done to fix the mistake. Okay, we also have user testing. So feedback will be gathered by a variety of different users who will test the website and will give their feedback. Okay, so factors that must be considered when designing an effective test plan. So the purpose of the website. Okay, so the users will basically test to see if the purpose of the website has been met. Is it suitable for the particular target audience? Has the correct corporate house style been applied? Okay, and then also describe each item that needs to be tested, identify inputs, and identify expected outcomes as well. So this is basically similar to the test plan here. Okay, so if the user is testing your website, we could create a form like this. So what is the purpose of the website? Is the content easy to understand? What are the positive features? What are the negative features? Is it easy to use a website and to navigate from page to page? What could be improved? So a user form could be created so users testing a website could write their feedback. So we've come to the end of the expression overview video part 2. So please check out the first video to see the first part, especially focusing on the CSS. So if you want to find these videos, you can go to my YouTube channel. So let me quickly show you where these videos will be. So I've created a specific playlist. So this is the first overview video. If you click on it, you can check out the first part, and I will be including the second playlist in the same playlist here as shown. Okay, thank you guys for your time. Please like and share this video. I hope this content is helping. Good luck for your exams if you're taking them soon. Thanks again for your time. Please show support to the channel. Please subscribe below. Thanks again.